The Uplift War opens like a cosmic joke told by someone who understands both biology and bureaucracy. David Brin, ever the cheerful realist, imagines a galaxy where intelligence is franchised out like a fast food chain. Species uplift other species into sentience, then spend millennia arguing over who owes whom for the privilege of consciousness. Into this vast cosmic pyramid scheme comes one small planet, Garth, already ruined once by ecological disaster, and now politely invaded by a flock of militant bird people with religious delusions of competence. The invaders are called the Gubru, and they arrive with the solemnity of accountants at a seminar. Every decision must be made by a ruling triad. 3 birds, 1 orange, 1 blue, 1 white, locked in perpetual negotiation about which color currently embodies the divine right to lead. The system sounds spiritual, but functions like a board meeting that never adjourns. Their invasion of Garth isn't a war of ideology or greed. It's a bureaucratic publicity stunt, an attempt to gain galactic prestige by picking on a relatively small, mostly harmless client species. Unfortunately for them, that client species happens to include chimpanzees who have learned sarcasm. Humanity, acting as the chimp's patron, has granted them language, self-awareness, and just enough intelligence to complain about the arrangement. Fiben Bolger, one of these newly self-conscious primates, spends the book demonstrating that an evolutionary upgrade doesn't always come with emotional maturity. Brin uses him as a walking contradiction, part philosopher, part fool, forever teetering between brilliance and the urge to throw something. Through Fiben, the novel exposes the vanity of uplift itself, a noble idea poisoned by ownership. Intelligence, Brin seems to suggest, is less about IQ and more about refusing to lick the boots of one's creators. Robert Oneagle, the primary human among the protagonists, brings an almost clerical sense of guilt to the chaos. As a representative of the patron race, he treats his uplifted allies with the wary tenderness of a parent who knows the therapy bills will be astronomical. His leadership is grounded in empathy, not power, and his cautious approach to warfare feels like an act of rebellion in a universe addicted to hierarchy. Robert embodies humanity's paradox, technically in charge, morally uncertain, and painfully aware that uplifting other species may have been an elaborate way of repeating its own colonial history with better manners. The Gubru, meanwhile, are tragicomic perfection. Their obsession with purity, order, and protocol turns every atrocity into a clerical exercise. Brin paints them as villains, yet their villainy is procedural, not emotional. They destroy in the name of tidiness. Their soldiers march like bureaucrats, armed with holy forms in triplicate. The effect is both terrifying and faintly absurd. Brin's satire lands precisely because it never winks. The Gubru believe utterly in their righteousness, and that sincerity makes them dangerous. Beneath the feathers and philosophy, the novel is a meditation on freedom disguised as a planetary war story. The conflict on Garth is physical, political, and spiritual all at once. The chimps struggle not merely to survive, but to decide whether independence means rejecting their human patrons entirely or simply learning to talk back without being punished. The humans fight to prove that compassion isn't weakness. The Gubru fight to prove they're not ridiculous, which unfortunately makes them more so. Every side is both right and wrong in a way that only Brin's brand of optimistic cynicism can sustain. The setting amplifies the irony. Garth, a once devastated world now being painstakingly restored, mirrors the moral ecosystem of the story. The planet's healing process becomes a metaphor for ethical evolution, slow, messy, and full of unintended consequences. Brin's environmentalism is never sentimental. He treats nature as something to be negotiated with, not worshipped. In his hands, ecology becomes politics with better manners. The landscape is both battlefield and conscience, a living reminder that survival without wisdom is just a slower extinction. The world building reaches absurd levels of intricacy. Brin's galactic civilization is governed by the library, an ancient interstellar archive of contracts and traditions so sacred that even gods would need an appointment to make amendments. Every intelligent species in the 5 galaxies has a sponsor, a client, and an army of lawyers. It's a universe run not by tyrants or philosophers, but by middle managers of destiny. The result is as funny as it is horrifying. Progress, in Brin's world, moves at the speed of paperwork. Despite the satire, the novel's heart is sincere. Brin genuinely believes intelligence should be measured by empathy. He writes science fiction where kindness is a radical act, not a weakness to be outgrown. The guerrilla warfare that drives the plot is less about killing invaders than about saving dignity. Every skirmish feels like an argument for cooperation over domination. Brin's optimism is deliberately hard-won. It's the optimism of someone who knows how easily civilization can trip over its own ego. Stylistically, The Uplift War juggles tones that should not coexist. It's both earnest and mischievous, academic and irreverent. The dialogue veers from military precision to absurd comedy without losing coherence. Brin writes like a man who has read every evolutionary biology paper ever published, then decided to stage a Monty Python sketch about it. The absurdity is deliberate, a pressure valve for the seriousness of his ideas. When a talking chimp quotes poetry or an alien bureaucrat experiences an existential crisis over the proper filing of a war crime, the reader laughs, but uneasily. Compared with Startide Rising, its ocean-bound predecessor, The Uplift War is grounded and terrestrial. The dolphins of the earlier book embodied curiosity. The chimps of this one embody rebellion. Both stories orbit the same moral question: what does intelligence owe to its origins? Brin's answer evolves along with his characters. The further they move from their patrons, the more alive they become. The series as a whole functions as an evolutionary ladder with irony carved into every rung. By its conclusion, the novel transforms the chaos of invasion into a strange kind of transcendence. The chimps, through courage and comedy, become something new, not human imitators, but moral equals. The Gubru, defeated not just militarily but philosophically, serve as a warning about what happens when arrogance becomes theology. Humanity, humbled and slightly bruised, limps toward a future that might actually be worth having. What lingers is not the battle scenes or the clever aliens, but the conviction that decency might still be a viable survival strategy. Brin's universe is crowded, argumentative, and full of evolutionary show-offs, yet somehow there's room in it for growth. The humor cuts through the grandeur, reminding readers that even in a galaxy run by gods and geneticists, absurdity remains the one truly universal language. In the end, The Uplift War stands as both satire and scripture, a celebration of intelligence that refuses to take itself too seriously. It is science fiction for people who believe optimism should have teeth, and that laughter used properly can be an act of rebellion against despair.